What have been the noticeable differences between coaching in Australia and the UK? Like the mindset, how people approach their fitness, all that sort of stuff.
There's certainly more of a drive and ambition, and it's definitely something that people in Australia care more about. So here, I would like to say in Australia, people are again probably in better shape, the majority, especially those that do go to the gym because they care more about it. But then it also links to the point that there's beaches everywhere, especially obviously where I stayed in Sydney for so long. There were beaches everywhere. You got to think people are constantly out and about. It's hot weather. People have their body out, and people are constantly comparing themselves to others. And this guy looks really good, or this person looks really good. And then there's that domino effect of, okay, well, now I need to kind of maybe get my act together. I need to go and train a little bit harder. I need to go and join one of these absurd 4:30 run clubs in the morning. And there's all of these influences for it, and you've got all of these outside gyms, and like I said, all of these run clubs, and everything happens all the time, and it's everywhere, and fitness is all around you. Whereas here, there is a big lack of that drive and ambition for being a little bit healthier and being a little bit more active.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. So it's the environment that's facilitating. Because this was when I was 21. I was sat in the park, and this is when I was, yeah, this is when I think I was my heaviest because I wasn't even working out or doing anything at the time. Maybe beforehand. I was out in the park, and I was like, no wonder I'm fat. Everyone else around me is either skinny or fat. No one's actually in shape.
Yeah,
Like, and monkey see, monkey do. And at that point, until you actually realize it's very subconscious.
absolutely. And I do think there is just maybe, I think the weather probably plays a large part in it because I feel like even here, if the sun was out, 70% of the time, or if the weather was warmer and people were, going to all of these places and you see a lot more of it, then there would still be that drive and that pressure almost on someone to look a bit better, as much as it is in Australia. So I do think that. And I would also say that income and money is probably another one. So obviously with the wages and the income and, the average take home in Australia being absurdly higher, I would say that plays a big effect on being able to look after yourself a little bit more. So as here, obviously, where the wage may not be, the cost of living crisis, everything like that going on, people don't necessarily prioritize their health or prioritize fitness simply because, they have other things to pay for. And I would probably say that living, living in your house and having good food and supplying all of this for your family, and, that to them is going to be more important because the gym's not necessarily, in the picture for a lot of people.
Also, I've been finding this and I'm having to do a lot of budget bulking personally because, yeah, I live on my own, have to, and yeah, I've got to find a way around it. But then I don't get the luxury of going having salmon every single day. I have don't get me wrong, I like what I eat, minus dinner, but but yeah, it's just what you've got to find a way around it, and then what's the alternative? I also
Yeah,
think it might be clothing as well. Now, hear me out. I said this to my counselor years ago when I had it, and I said to him, "This wasn't off." At the time, I just kind of said it, but looking back, it had a lot more significance than it did. I still got the hoodie where it was this really baggy one, where it like really over my stomach. But I said to him, "I like wearing hoodies because it hides my stomach." And because it's always cold and typically wet and windy in the
absolutely.
UK, well, what are most people going to wear? Hoodies, coats, and that, and it just hides their body. I mean, how many people do you see walking around in stuff like this? I forget the collar, just t-shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I do feel like the weather certainly plays a big role into it, simply because there's no real need to be topless or go to these places. Like even if you go to the beach, it's not necessarily that warm. So unless we have a peak summer of 30 degrees and you have these days where you are constantly just sweating and sweating and sweating because it's so warm. There's no real need to be topless. Whereas, like I said, over there, where it's constantly that warm, the UV is a lot higher. The temperature is simply just abnormal. People over there obviously have much more reason to be topless, and like I said, that you seeing a lot of people in good shape is always gonna have that domino effect of, okay, well maybe I should, go and do a little bit more.